the Board Bia Quality Mark, ensuring your food is produced to the highest standards of traceability and care for the environment.
So far in the series, I visited some places where the chefs prepare food for large numbers of people, including the Aviva Stadium, Trinity College, and on board a Navy ship. And it's interesting for me as a chef to see how other chefs cope in different environments. The location today is very different. It's the Atlantis Hotel on Palm Island in Dubai. And I'm here because tonight I'm co-hosting a dinner for a number of the city's top chefs and other dignitaries, including the Irish ambassador. Dubai has been a trading hub for centuries, and almost everything eaten in the city is imported. The purpose of tonight's dinner is to promote Irish ingredients to chefs working in the city's top hotels and restaurants. Competition is tough. These chefs are spoiled for choice. But helping me tonight is the Atlantis Hotel's executive Sous chef, Mathew Goodlet. Mathew, it's great to be here and in your kitchen. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Pleasure, Neven.
I'm looking forward now for you cooking my recipe because we've been to-ing and fro-ing with emails, you know.
Back and forth over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, good, excellent. The menu looks lovely, so I'm interested to see how you interpret my recipe for the monkfish.
No, it's been great, yeah. So amazing Irish produce. So what we're going to start off with, we'll do the Irish monkfish with the blue lobster tail, spinach, some baby carrots, then finish it off with some nice little Irish sorrel, which we have
Lovely.
here.
So how have you cooked the monkfish first of all?
Beautiful. Well, we've already started cooking it. What we did first off was cooked it in a water bath in a vacuum bag at 48 degrees. Perfectly cooks the fish, so it's beautiful and moist. Has a nice meat, keeps that meaty texture to the fish nice, opaque through the center.
And how long have you cooked it in the sous vide?
Sous vide, normally about 25 minutes
25
at 48
minutes.
degrees.
Excellent.
Bring the pan just up to heat. Start with a little bit of butter. So we got that just coming down now.
So you're just going to get colour on it on the outside. And Mathew, how many restaurants do you have in the hotel here?
We have roughly about 20 restaurants, and that's ranging from water park through to high fine dining, Japanese and seafood restaurants like that. It's an amazing place.
And are you based in La Brasserie here?
I'm based in Avenues over the outlets.
Okay.
So we overlook 7 restaurants ranging from Japanese to Italian to French to La Brasserie here.
Wow.
Good.
So in any one day, how many people do you cook for in the hotel?
We can cater anywhere from about a quiet day 14,000 up to 17,000 in the middle peak seasons because it's festive. It's a large operation.
That's amazing. And how many chefs in the hotel?
Chefs, we're looking at, on average, normally about 455 chefs we have in the operation. So
that's incredible.
Another, huge.
And where are you from yourself?
From Australia, South Australia, Adelaide.
Lovely. So are you impressed with the Irish monkfish?
I am.
And the lobster?
The lobster. Anyway, you have cold water, so anywhere you find the cold water seafood, it's always so sweet.
That's true. So you're basting that butter, basting over.
Getting those butter to caramelise, give that nice nutty flavour to the outside of the fish. So here we are, almost good caramelisation, pretty much ready to go.
Gorgeous. Looks lovely.
So we'll come across here to the board.
Lovely colour.
Yeah.
You finished with that?
Finished with that?
Yeah.
Looking at about 3 portions. Just carve it ever so gently.
Perfectly cooked.
A little bit opaque, but the meat still falls apart.
That's the beauty about sous vide. You get that beautiful consistency.
Makes cooking the perfect piece of fish.
Yeah.
Very simple. Start with a bit of wilted spinach that we just wilted before.
Here, I'll bring that down for you. So what have you here? Spinach?
So spinach, the claws from the lobster, some baby leeks and baby carrots.
Green, white and gold. I love it. I feel at home.
So we're just going to work along. So we're slightly dressing the carrots down. So now we'll just finish with the claws. It's lightly poached in butter. Very nice fine finesse leaves of sorrel. You get a nice lemony flavour which works so well with the seafood.
It's amazing, Mathew, that everything on that plate has come from Ireland.
It is. We have great suppliers, especially in Dubai. A lot of stuff is imported. Like a lot of it's come in live. So we had all the lobsters that came in live.
That's
beautiful,
incredible.
Fresh, blue colour. It's amazing.
That is some story. That's 6,500 kilometres to travel to Dubai. So then we're doing a foam, is that right?
So now we have the curry foam just to finish off this dish.
Yeah.
So we put it into the siphon here just so you get a nice, really aerated sauce. We'll just finish.
Gorgeous. Lovely colour, lovely and light.
So here we have the wilted spinach with the beautifully cooked monkfish, the blue lobster, the vegetables, and I finish with the lemony Irish sorrel and the curry foam.
Such a beautiful dish. Let's taste it. The lobster, yum. Beautifully cooked, soft. That monkfish is just falling apart. Wow, love it. A bit of sauce.
Beautiful.
Delish. I love the foam. There's a bit of spice, the softness of the lobster. Monkfish is usually firm fish, but the flavour is fantastic.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love the recipe.
You've done a fabulous job. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now I'm looking forward to coming back here later on. I'll be cooking some beef and of course cooking the dinner. But for now, it's back to Black Lion. This is the lovely dish with an Asian feel. It's Singapore noodles, and it's a relatively very easy dish. It's a great way if you have some cooked chicken to use up, if you have some prawns, and everything goes into the wok. First thing we need to do is to soak these beautiful mushrooms, and these are called shiitake mushrooms, which are wonderful, intense, wonderful even in a mushroom soup, in a strudel. If you're using any kind of wild mushrooms, they're fantastic. Now we need to reconstitute them. Pour on the boiling water, just to soften them. Rice noodles are an essential part of this, and I'm going to soak them. So just with the water, cover them and let them soak there for about 8 to 10 minutes. Should be more than enough. These are the medium size. You can get a wider one called an udon, or else you can get a small little thin one which you can deep fry also, which is delicious. So let them soak there. I can move on and I can start the base for the Singapore noodles. Have the wok just switched on, nice and low. I'm going to prepare some onion and ginger and then some garlic. So this is the base that's going to go in to the wok. So first of all, we'll just dice the onion, or you can slice it. I'm going to dice it for this. I'm going to dice it nice and fine and then hold it all together. And then dice it really, really nice and fine. This could be also a dish that you could put red onion into it. Red onion gives so much colour, really, really nice and sweet. That's it, onion is done. And them are ginger. Ginger is fantastic when it's peeled like this. So I'm just going to cut this again into small little cubes. I don't want anyone, you know, when you're tasting this, biting a big lump of ginger, all you can taste is the ginger. 2 cloves of garlic, which I'm just going to crush. Turn up the wok. I'm just using a little bit of groundnut oil. Place the ginger, the garlic, and also the onion in the wok. So that's immediately what you want to hear. It begins to start cooking. Stir this, let the sweat off now for a minute. Not really looking for colour, just to combine all the flavours. Into this, I'm going to put in some hot Madras curry powder. So it's a nice little bit of a kick to this. If you're not a fan of very hot, you can use a mild one if you want to. But it's important you do cook out the spices. So after a minute, just turn down the heat. We can strain off the shiitake mushrooms. Now I want to use some of that soaking liqueur, so I'm going to bring that over with me. And I'm just going to cut these. The dried ones are more intense and flavoured, so they're quite strong. You don't need a huge amount of them. So I'm just going to cut these in half. When you soak them, they're nice and soft, a little bit pliable, and they're going to add a little bit of texture to it. Turn this back up, and then in goes your mushrooms. Now what I want to do is put in the curry powder. I'm going to put in 4 of these. And this is really important to cook this out. Nothing worse than raw spices. That's awful in any kind of cooking or food. So keep the heat up nice and full. So while that's cooking there, I can just prepare the spring onions, which are really just going to be a garnish. I can just have them done and then kind of cut them at an angle. And this is the last thing that we'll be putting onto the dish. Okay, move them over to the side and then just give the mushrooms and all the other ingredients a little stir. So now we can start making our sauce or dressing. So we have some dark soy sauce. We're going to put a tiny little bit of the soaking liquor drained from the mushrooms. And then some dry sherry. It's really important, not sweet. So a little bit of dried sherry there. Stir that through. This is quite an interesting ingredient. It's quite strong, very, very powerful, and it's a dried shrimp paste. You can keep it in your fridge, or also you can freeze it. And if you go to like making the likes of prawn bisque, add it in there, use it. Don't buy it just for this. And this is going to go in here, half of this. And I want to leave some for just finishing over the noodles. Now that shrimp paste is very strong, so just use a small amount of it. So in the wok, I have the onion, the ginger, and the garlic, the shiitake mushrooms. We have the Madras curry powder, and then I just put in the dry sherry and also some dark soy sauce and some shrimp paste. I'm going to just prepare the chicken, and this is some quality assured chicken, which is just baked off in the oven. So this is a great dish. Say if you've leftover chicken, you can use this. I'm going to slice it. You can dice it, but I want to see the chicken, and all we're doing is just reheating it. It couldn't be easier. Just turn down the wok. So we can just sprinkle this in. And our prawns, the tiger tail prawns, I think with the little tail on, looks really nice for presentation. So it's just a matter of warming them through. And what I'll do for a little bit of colour, put some of the spring onions, but I'll also sprinkle some on top. Now for our noodles, which we soaked in boiling water, we need to strain them. So let's just test them if they're cooked. They feel absolutely fine to me. And taste them. Perfect. Drain them off. And make sure you really take off as much of the excess water as possible. Just use that spoon. And this goes into the wok. The nice thing about that is that they're nice and warm because of the boiling water, and we just stir this through. And they'll take on a little bit of colour, of course, from the curry powder. Again, just blast up the heat. You could put some cooked pork into this. You could put also some cooked turkey if you have it. So I'm going to finish it with some black pepper and then some fresh coriander, so it'll give a lovely freshness to it. Just pick a little bit there. Just literally the leaves. Don't even chop it. Just tear it in. Now, that is good to serve. Get a pair of tongs. Bring over your wok. So just the rice noodles first. Get lots of the chicken in there. The shiitake mushroom, the prawn. And pile it really nice and high. I think that's a very generous portion. We're going to get the spring onion, which I just sliced, just a little bit over. I'm going to put some of the dressing. And then a little bit of fresh coriander. Hard to beat just some fresh herbs. They really give a lot of life, colour and taste. A little bit of lime, so just place the lime on the side. And I think the secret into this dish is the preparation of the vegetables at the start. The onion, the garlic and the ginger. Well worth it. It's very quick, very simple. That's my Singapore noodles with prawns and chicken.
The Board Bia quality mark, ensuring your food is produced to the highest standards. The Board Bia quality mark, ensuring your food is produced to the highest standards.
This is the beef dish that I'm going to cook for the main course tonight. It's a fillet of beef with creamed cabbage, with a little bit of celeriac and carrot, parsnip puree and potato rostri. So there's a lot of elements to this dish. First thing we're going to do is talk about the beef. This is the lovely Irish beef Johnstone. It's cling wrapped, so it is to give it a lovely, lovely shape. And this is the fillet, so it's really, really tender. We've trimmed off any excess fat. There's a tiny little bit of marble in there. This is dry aged for 21 days. We're going to season it up, salt, and then some black pepper. And just bring the meat to room temperature. That's the most important thing. So I'm just going to bring this over and place it onto a hot pan. Hear that sizzle? Perfect. Place some butter into the pan. Clarified butter because of the heat here. It's nearly 30 degrees plus. A little bit of butter around. So you season your meat onto a hot pan. And so you want to get a nice bit of caramelization. Start it off in a high pan, and then I've reduced the heat slightly. So it's nice and slowly cooking. I'm going to cook it nice and pink. Is the way we're going to serve it tonight. While that's on cooking, I'm going to show you a really lovely way of cooking cabbage. It's cream and cabbage. Traditionally, we'd boil a big pot of water, put in some cabbage and boil it, maybe put a little bit of cooked onion. This is a very different way of cooking it. So before I start cooking the cabbage, I'm just going to flip over the beef. That's the fillet. Look at that. Beautifully caramelized. So now for the cabbage. What I'm going to serve it with is a little bit of diced celeriac and carrot, a little bit of oil, and a little bit of our melted butter. Cook off some carrot and celeriac in the pan. Just let this sweat off for a moment. You can use turnip, you can use lots of other vegetables, but the carrot and celeriac is my favorite. Okay, just literally cook them for a couple of seconds. Some cream. And then with the cabbage. What I've done with the cabbage is cut into really thin strips, and this goes into the pan. So this is going to wilt down. It's going to keep its color and its flavor. So delicious. Just a little touch more cream. You can put smoked bacon, which works really well in this. So as you're cooking this, every so often go back onto your steak, flip it over. Now that is perfect. To me, I want to cook this nice and medium rare, so it's nice and pink in the center. It's nearly done because it's very tender and it cooks really, really quickly. Salt, a little bit of black pepper, And just, instead of using too much cream, I'm going to put a tiny bit of water into this. Just a tiny little drop, just to thin it out a little bit. Delicious. So I absolutely love cooking cabbage like that, and I wanted to create the Irish colours, green, white and gold. Okay, fillet, centre, nice and soft. Take this off and let it rest. Just using a little bit of kitchen paper, just let it sit like that. So it's going to keep nice and warm also. It's not going to go cold here, don't worry. What I want to do is just serve up a couple of different baby vegetables. We have some baby carrots and a little bit of celeriac. Warm this up. So I've already pre-cooked these, and what I've done is I've blanched them in boiling water for roughly about 2 minutes. Tiny touch of butter. Just get a little bit of colour in that. So if you notice, I'm using the same pan that I sealed the beef on, which is lots of flavour in there. Pinch of salt, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of parsley in here. Just tear it in with your hands, a little bit of flat leaf parsley. Not looking for colour, just looking to warm it up. Cabbage is good. You can cream up your cabbage a day ahead, warm it up, fantastic. Colour and flavour. Now, the next element is parsnip puree. You're probably thinking parsnip, not a big fan, fabulous vegetable. What I've done here is just simply steam the parsnip, a little bit of cream, butter and half a vanilla pod. Blended it and made a lovely smooth puree, and the Thermomix is brilliant. So that's it, we're ready to serve up. The parsnip puree is the first element. And simply swipe it like that. Beautiful. Cream cabbage next. So it's nicely thickened. Potato rosti. Peel potatoes, put it through a grater. I'm using a fine little Japanese mandolin and simply pan-fried it. Nothing else, bit of salt, and it just holds together. So there's nice texture there. Now, our garnishes. So I'm just going to put 2 of the celeriac little balls. Tiny baby carrot, just sit it to the side. Well, what I've done as an extra little garnish is just tiny little discs of spinach. They're leaves of spinach which are cut out with a tiny little, kind of like a cookie or scone cutter. We just arrange them just on top of the vegetables there. So lots of colour. Now, for the piece de resistance, the beef fillet. It's beautifully rested. So this is another lovely garnish. Diced mushrooms, a little bit of shallot, garlic, and a touch of cream in that, and some thyme. I've just warmed that through. Just spoon this on top. And then a little bit of sauce, and this is like a beef jus with some red wine. So it's a really good homemade stock, which they've made here in the kitchen, and just reduced red wine and just a drizzle of it. The smell of that is amazing. And the last little thing we're going to serve, a little bit of celery cress and a little edible flour. And everything on this plate is bought in from Ireland. So that's my fillet of Irish beef with cream cabbage, parsnip puree, and I really hope they enjoy this dish tonight. The chefs and the waiters are from all over the world, and the maître d' is from France. This is the first time the chefs will have cooked any of these dishes. There's no dress rehearsal. But I'm very impressed by their professionalism and enthusiasm. It's always important that the front of house staff know about the food being served, because they will be asked a lot of questions by the diners. So before service began, I explained the dishes to them. So good evening, everyone, and thank you to Mathew and Gilles and the whole team here. It's great to be here. A privilege that we can come over from Ireland and cook for your customers tonight. So this is a tasting of Irish seafood. So the very first element is oysters, and they're just gently poached, done with some spinach. Underneath it sits with some sea salt. They don't eat that, okay? And it's done with a Guinness Savion, which is a light foam from Guinness. The producer is Kelly's Oysters, small producer in Ireland. The next one is some smoked salmon, and this is some Galway Bay, over in the west of Ireland. Some white crab meat and some cheese in that, a little bit of caviar and some pickled cucumber. And this is the hot element of the dish. Underneath you have a sauce vierge. It's like a pepper salsa, sweet and sour, with basil and lemon, so it's very refreshing. And then we have this prawn wrapped in this pastry called katafi. Lovely sweet prawns. We will serve them hot tonight. Any questions?
Which one to start by?
Oh, good question. Wow. I think the oyster. Get the Guinness in first. I think so. With the spinach, it's interesting. It's just very lightly poached. It's not raw. It's not cooked. So one of the signature dishes will be the beef fillet, okay? Which is cooked in the sous vide. It's all served the same way, done with some cream cabbage. So we have a little potato rosti, parsnip puree with that, with vanilla. which is interesting. It's a spice from here, a red wine sauce, and then we have baby vegetables with that too. Yeah, and some wild mushrooms and mushrooms creams. So that should be good on very, very well. And the beef fillet is the best cut of the beef. It's all grass-fed, so it's a very, very special ingredient. So that will be all served medium, nice and pink. Then you'll have your cheese. So that's from Collooney, which is made in Tipperary. This woman is very passionate and she brings a lot of great cheese producers in Ireland. So every one of these companies I know and I use on my restaurant. The lobster is from Mullaghmore. Mullaghmore is only 45 minutes from where I live. We also use in the Galway Bay Monkfish. So that's going to work really well, the monkfish with the lobster. And the last thing is the trio of Jameson and apple desserts. So this is a panna cotta, which is a set cream, flavour with apple and some Jameson, a little tart tatin, so a warm little tart, and then we also have a parfait with that. So you have hot and cold, and a milkshake on the side, and then you have little truffles, flavoured with Jameson whiskey. So we're going to have a good night tonight. If anyone wants to meet myself or Mathew, we're here. And don't go out, and you must know the dish and be happy with it. And of course, as you always do, be happy and smile and be passionate, okay? So let's have a big clap. Thank you, everyone. Okay? Cheers. So this is the very first course in the menu tonight. It's like a pre-starter or an amuse-bouche. What we're calling it tonight is snacks. So everything on the plate, apart from the dish, is from Ireland. So it is. We have tartare of Johnstone beef with a tarragon mayonnaise and a crispy fried quail egg. We have some hot smoked salmon done on a little roulade with some microgreen. We have some smoked haddock. And what we've done is made into a mini little fish cake with lemon mayonnaise. And the last one is pickled beetroot, carpaccio styles, thinly sliced, pickled in some balsamic vinegar, red wine, and creme de cassis. And then we have some Collooney goat's cheese and a little bit of apple and walnut dressing. So this is the very, very first thing they get when they arrive here tonight. The first guests to arrive are the Irish ambassador and his wife, and Gillian O'Neill from Fine Foods Eire, who alongside John Stone and Alan Morris from Johnstone Beef is responsible for putting this dinner together. The promotion actually lasts an entire month at the Atlantis, so hopefully lots of people will taste some of Ireland's best produce. We started off with 75 people for dinner, now we're up to 130, which is a lot of people, but I hope they're enjoying it. It's been a great buzz creating the menu for tonight, and this menu is on for the full month. I want to sincerely thank Mathew in the kitchen, who has made my life so easy, Corrine front of house, and most importantly, Gillian for bringing over the wonderful Irish produce. It's been a privilege for me to cook here in Dubai. I think they're really enjoying it, and I'm going to go and say hello to the guests tonight. Later on in the series, I'll be back in Dubai, but in the next episode of Home Chef, I visit the GPO in Dublin and cook some dishes in this iconic building.
The Board Bia quality mark, ensuring your food is produced to the highest standards of traceability and care for the environment.